Alrighty, so I think it's time we look into my boy Toji himself. Got him completely done up. I was going to go the extra mile, but I thought, you know what, we'll put a hold on it. Anniversary, we know what's coming. Well, we don't officially know what's coming, but we've got a good idea. So with all the high rarity resources, I gotta prepare for the big boy to come. But Toji, he is looking badass. Artwork is clean AF. We got everything cooking for that man. So let me give you guys a brief explanation on what we're looking at in terms of how to use him, and then of course we will put this man to the test. So just to quickly run down on what we're working with. So his first skill, obviously everything's at 0 cost, by the way, because he doesn't have any curse energy. Fantastic. But his first skill is AoE, just does hits. We'll look at it at max level, just for the sake of it. So 250 of course, of melee damage, is AoE, and when it comes to applying the combo counts, +2 for each target damaged. So the more the merrier, the better for him, right? So it's a nice little thing, because of course he can work in a solo dolo type of way where he can hone and focus on the enemy, but then it's like if there's multiple enemies, it's even better, because then you're applying more of those counters to him, which ultimately makes him more stronger. So either there's multiple enemies, there's a single target enemy, he's working best in any situation, which is fantastic. His second skill is where he can give himself that increased damage. We'll do level 10 for the sake of it, so 25%. And on top of that, he increases damage dealt to self by 25% for 4 turns, and increases damage dealt by 50% when critical hits for 4 turns. And then it also puts him in the Fang sharpening status, so then the skill itself will change to where you pretty much stab the enemy, and by doing that you increase the break damage amount by 250, so one turn, deals 200% melee damage, grants 1 amplified continuous damage of 40% melee damage to the selected enemy, and then you then yourself give yourself a +3 on the combo count. So yeah, that second skill, once you're in the Fang sharpening state, really does help you out in terms of having that continuous damage going on, and furthermore supporting the whole breakage side of it, as if you need. So that's pretty nice itself. So not only have you got AoE coverage, building up those combo counts, but now you got your second skill that can help you out with the break coverage, still doing damage, that DOT is being applied, and again still going and applying yourself more of those combo counts so that we can do more damage over time. And then when it comes to the third skill, I believe the third skill is single target. You do a 3-hitter, which is very nice. Level 10, 405, and then this will grant you 1 combo count. So that, again the third skill it's because it's single target, it will hit pretty hard, so damage wise it's pretty nice. And then when it comes to the ultimate, so again 1300 of melee damage once you get to level 10 of course. It's a 5-hitter, inflicts, what was this, to the selected enemy, and inflicts 40% amplified continuous damage on the selected enemy at 20% rate, and grants 1 combo count to user. I think when it comes to the stab wound continuous damage, I think it applies 3 or 4, because there's multiple continuous damage that pops up, so that way you can pretty much stack it with, if you have this second skill applied. If you're in the Fang sharpening status when applying that ultimate, you can kind of correlate that with this to kind of continue on the amplification, so that damage output could be pretty nice. But essentially what we're trying to get at on what this Toji is doing is that he's applying the amplification to get that DOT damage going on, but everything that he does, he's a builder basically. The more you build into him in terms of applying that combo count, building that up, the better he becomes. So he is most definitely a longevity type of fighter. But yeah, when it comes to the combos, what we're looking at, 128 increases damage by 30%, that's at max, so it'll be at 100% melee damage, increases damage dealt by 15% on critical hits to yourself and the target of the linked, and then you recover HP on your remaining allies. In terms of the passive, obviously if you know the red Toji, then you would know about all of the regular passive that he has, where he gets the evasion, the healing, the damage reduction, so that pretty much keeps on. Now the combo count, this is where it all kind of goes down. So at the start of turn, when combo count is 1 or higher, you give yourself a 29.50 increase in physical ability, which is basically taijutsu. 1 turn. The higher the combo count at the start of the turn, the greater the effect, up to 160%. Effect is at its maximum at 30. So you want to build that up, and if you can hit to 30, then you know a man's going to be slapping. So we're going to try and see if we can reach that. With each increase by 4.5, so with each count, you're giving yourself a 4.5 increase in taijutsu damage. When self breaks the target or incapacitates any enemy, then you give yourself a +5 count. So there's a bit of a bonus now to actually have Toji be the breakout. And keep in mind his second skill helps him out on breaking the enemy more quicker. So there you go, that's something to take note of. Activates only once per turn, and then exclude cases where incapacitation occurs when amplified continuous damage. Ah, damn it! That's okay. That sucks. I was gonna say that DOT could give us a real good helping hand if there's just a little bit bar left, but unfortunately the developers were aware. So on screen right now, I'll put up some damage. So I was basically just messing about, just seeing what Toji's capable of, seeing his damage. Like without any buffs on average, you can kind of So on screen right now, I was really just kind of hopping into a difficult fight, just kind of putting in the buffs and whatnot, seeing what his damage output can be like, of course, in just a standard fight itself. Obviously, we'll do the sweep fight. I'm sure in saying he's gonna clean sweep that mode, but we'll see how much of an ease that is. But for right now, again, with what I was accomplishing using this man, and again the way that he works, again, in a situation where, like I said, and again in the gameplay, there's 2 enemies, so that's +4, and that's the key thing on what we're trying to do, is we're trying to build up the counter, because of course each counter is 4.5, so kind of building that up, and then we're having to utilize the second skill at the correct time, because obviously with buffs in general, we're able to use it multiple times. In the case of Toji, it's a one-time deal and you have to wait 4 turns. So there has been situations where I've applied the buff and I've timed it wrongly with I guess, for example, let's say Megumi's ultimate, of course, when he's applied all 3 of the defense drop, and I've lost my Fang status, so I'm losing out on those additional damage dealt increase, of course. So there are key ways to go about combating and utilizing this man and making sure that you do have the best setup possible. Now, that's the 2 difference between the red Toji and this Toji, is that with this Toji, there's a little bit more strategic play going into it. So it's more so of a difficult use, because again, the red Toji is so straightforward, hence why he's regarded a little bit more higher. So I really don't want to knock this Toji and be like saying the red one is better, only because the red one is like 1,000 more simplified and easy to use and achieves a good amount of damage. With this yellow Toji is that he is a demon, and yes, there's a little bit of a strategic play to this man, but his damage output far exceeds to what the red version can apply. Red version is more easy to use. The yellow version, if done right and if built up right and has longevity within a fight itself, he's going to become a bit of a problem. And of course, keep in mind, yellow typing Megumi, his son, works hand on hand to get that nuking power potential, of course. And again, also, one thing which I have been struggling with, which I do want to mention, is of course Mekamaru is a yellow typing and he is good for breaking. So it's nice to have a Toji come along and support the breakage side of it, as well as doing the damage that he dishes. So I'm actually extremely happy about that part of it. So definitely another situation to where the game is at, where they are dropping heat back to back. First Jozo, now this Toji. So yeah, kind of expected. But again, just kind of utilizing and then. But yeah, coming back to the premise of this Toji, it's more so of kind of building up his counters, getting those amplification damage going on, because again, those, I mean, well, the DOT damage that you can really apply is pretty disgusting. I mean, again, it was first introduced with like kind of Sukuna realistically, when with the amount that he was able to kind of dish out per turn. But this Toji really is coming along. I think at one point I was able to do like 350 per DOT. It was pretty insane. So again, the DOT played that amplification side of it. It's there. So allowing you to get those additional, more insane damage going. So there's a little bit more play to this Toji, but if done right, he is an absolute behemoth of a character. Now, how... In the case of Itadori, I feel like Itadori might still have the upper hand, only because it doesn't require so much of a build-up. I think that's the downfall of Toji. It's just his build-up. I'm still gonna have to mess about a little bit more with him, but for right now, I'm still regarding Itadori slightly above him. But in the long-term wise, when he's, you know, when that 160 is off, then I believe his damage output should be able to far exceed Itadori. I'm pretty sure. I'll have to try that out. But anyway, yeah, when it comes to this Toji, that's more taijutsu, more firepower being added into the yellow typing. So, go figure. Green typing got more firepower, yellow typing just got more firepower. Who's next? Blue typing? God knows what's going to happen there. But, yeah, this Toji is a pretty sweet unit. No longer an easy unit comparing to the red version. There is a little bit more strategy to this character, but in a long-term fight, being able to build him up, he will dish out a disgusting amount